This is the FlipNerd.com Expert Real Estate Investing Show, the show for real estate investors, whether you're a veteran or brand new. I'm your host, Mike Hambright, and each week I bring you a new expert guest that will share their knowledge and lessons with you. If you're excited about real estate investing, believe in personal responsibility, and taking control of your life and financial destiny, you're in the right place. This is episode number 426, and my guest today is Ramon Gonzalez. I hope you're ready for some deep conversation today, as Ramon and I get pretty deep on mindset, focusing on your unique ability, and just all around being true to yourself and being a good person. Real estate investing is an easy business to lose yourself in. By that, I mean work so hard that you forget about what's important to you. That leads to a few potential issues. First, you just may end up being successful financially, but you have a hard time enjoying the fruits of your labor, as you've really taught yourself to enjoy the struggle versus being at peace. Or even worse, you're so focused on the challenges that you face in this business that you just get discouraged and you never even find success. Both are failing. And we don't get into that business. We don't get into this business for that, right? We get into this business for the freedoms that it can provide. Just don't lose who you are. This is a powerful episode. You're going to learn a lot from it today. I even learned a lot from it, and it's my show. So regardless of your level of experience, you're going to get a lot out of today. Let's go ahead and get started. Please help me welcome Ramon Gonzalez. Raymond, welcome to the show, my friend.
Excited to be here with you, Mike, man.
Yeah, I'm pumped up, and we have a lot of stuff in common, and
absolutely,
I think we kind of preach from the same script, so this is going to be really cool here. I'm excited to talk about a lot of things that I talk about inside of my inner circles. We haven't really talked about a lot of these things on the show, about just being a true giver, connecting people, the importance of mindset, a lot of things that you and I talked about a little bit about here before we got started. That's going to make for a great show today, and really the type of conversation that only a couple of more veteran folks can have. Like you had to get some arrows in your back to like learn these lessons, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, hey, before we jump in, tell folks about your background if they're listening to the show and they don't know who you are yet.
Sure. Ramon Gonzalez. I'm from Miami, Florida. I used to work corporate at General Electric, maybe from 2000 to 2004. Went to school down here in Miami. Then I moved up to Connecticut, born and raised in Florida, Miami. Never left anywhere, never seen snow. You know, come from a lower middle class family, right? Never really traveled, right? So first time seeing snow was up there. I was up in Connecticut for 3 or 4 years, finished that program, and then started buying and holding real estate in Connecticut on the weekends, weeknights. I think that for the guys that, you know, one of the things that came up at one of my recent masterminds that I went to is one of the guys was working a corporate job and was saying, I want to quit this, do something else. I said, I look back at that corporate job. I don't know about you, Mike, if you started doing the real estate corporate, but I think there's a gift in having that corporate job and then doing your side hustle, if you will, because you are super effective. I used to do more in 4 hours than I ever did because I had to.
Right. Yep.
So it was, and I was very bankable. It was very easy for me to go get financing because I had that corporate job that all the banks loved, you know. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of guys now, like with the mindset, they kind of like diss that job, and I used to do that too. In retrospect, I would not do that. I would really be grateful for that opportunity and made me a better person and figure out to maximize it. And I think I did, but my attitude as I did it wasn't great. So either way, guys, so I did that. I bought and held a bunch of multifamily in Connecticut. Market started to shift. I got out of that, moved back to Miami. I still wanted to do the buy and hold thing, but the market didn't allow it. So I shifted, started wholesaling, started buying and reselling. I started to buy a fix. I got caught in a couple on that down cycle. Luckily, it didn't hurt us that much because I knew it was coming from the economic background. I just didn't know when. So when we got caught, it was a couple of properties and we could hold them through the down cycle. When they came back out, we sold them, made all that money back and then some. But fortunately for us, it didn't put us out. Took a couple of years off, got back in with my wife. My wife, quit her teaching job. She got back into the business with me. And then, so during my mini retirement there, I became a semi-pro beach volleyball player. And I almost competed. A lot of guys don't know this. I almost competed on a bodybuilding, like in terms of like just kind of, because I was really focused on that. I hired a trainer. You know, Mikey, you're hustling, you're working hard, you're working 60, 70, 80-hour weeks. And as the market shifted, you kind of like, sometimes I would let go of my health. One of the things I just kind of suffered. And I said, you know what, I'm going to get this dialed in. So I hired a great coach, and we got that dialed in. So, and then once I got it dialed in for 6 months to a year, I made it a habit. So I still kind of work out religiously and et cetera. But anyway, so I got back to Miami, couldn't buy and hold, started flipping, and then retired for those 2 years. My wife came to work with me. We tried to build an organization. So when I first started here in Miami, I wasn't keen. It was just me doing deals and kind of like that. But then I started to build a team with my wife, and then again, hire people, hire staff, hire acquisitions people. We did a lot of fix and flip, buy and hold. And then again, as the market was low, we took all the money from the fix and flip, bought and held as the market took up. And then as the market started to overheat, late 15, 16, and 17, we started selling. And we started shifting more into fix and flip because that's what the market did. So just being able to adjust as what the market gives you. So for example, when we were fixing and flipping in 2012, 13, you had to really give the market a nice product. But now that same product, I don't have to make it as nice because there's very low inventory, and also even faster, so I can pay more. And but just shifting those things, and then on the low end of the market, I would do higher end houses, but at the tail end of the market, I'm doing lower end houses because that's where the demand is. So you have to be strategic in terms of how you do this, because you really, as you evolve, Mike knows this, as you become more of a money manager and a financial steward of capital than really a real estate investor, if you will.
Yeah, man, I love everything you just said. I'm not able to have these conversations with a lot of people that understand kind of where you are in the market cycle, right? And a lot of people, especially a lot of wholesalers, like they just try to wholesale everything. Like they've got one tool and they just keep, using it in all market cycles. And it's like right now the retail market is hot. Like you said, you got to move out of some of the higher end stuff, because if anything's softening up, every market's different around the country. So I hate to use a broad brush, but in most markets where things are softening up a little bit, it's kind of like the not entry level. Entry level houses are the last to go because there's a lot more demand for those, right? So
and no one's building them.
To kind of ride them out. And for a couple of years now, we've been doing kind of what we call wholetailing, and we just clean them up a little bit and sell them on the retail market. But like you said, 5 years back, when we rehabbed, every rehab was all out. Stainless, granite, nicest house on the street. Now we're basically wholesaling into the retail market because inventory is so low, at least in Dallas where I'm at. And so, yeah, you got to understand those cycles and where you're at, and just pull a different tool out of your tool belt based on where you are in the cycle, right?
And what's weird, Mike, is I still know a lot of those guys that have like one hammer wholesaler. They never really amass any wealth. Because I love wholesale, but wholesale is a transactional tool to build capital and time to go invest somewhere else.
Exactly.
I love the wholesale model. All we did, I think in 17 or 16, we did about 20 deals, made close to $1 million. So these guys, I want to do hundreds of deals. Why? The brain damage. And we were in and out, Mike, in 90 days. 90 days in and out, from money out to money back in, 90 days. Yeah. Same thing. You take them down, you put them back on the MLS, but you have to adjust that strategy, and you have to know where you're at in the cycle, what pockets are hot. You said something that was really interesting, like in terms of what price point. The best price point, there's no new supply coming on for that low-level entry market buyer. So there is a ton of demand, no new supply. You don't want to be in the hood, but you want to be right below where the FHA cutoff is. You want to be right in that lower middle sweet spot. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep. If you're an active real estate investor already doing deals and looking to double or triple your business, you should consider joining the Investor Fuel Real Estate Investor Mastermind. We're a small group of investors that share our best practices, tips, and tricks with one another in an effort to all win. We limit our membership to only 1 to 2 members per market, so everyone shares their knowledge, tips, and tricks openly and honestly. Our members include some buying 1 to 2 houses a month, up to some of the most respected investors and leaders in the real estate investing industry, some of which have personally done over 1,000 deals. If you'd like to be considered for our invitation-only world-class mastermind, please visit investorfuel.com to request your personal invitation. Our next meeting is coming up quickly. Go to investorfuel.com now to learn more.
Wholesale model. All we did, I think in 17 or 16, we did about 20 deals, made close to $1 million. So these guys, I want to do hundreds of deals. Why? The brain damage. And we were in and out, Mike, in 90 days. 90 days in and out, from money out to money back in, 90 days. Yeah. Same thing. You take them down, you put them back on the MLS, but you have to adjust that strategy, and you have to know where you're at in the cycle, what pockets are hot. You said something that was really interesting, like in terms of what price point. The best price point, there's no new supply coming on for that low-level entry market buyer. So there is a ton of demand, no new supply. You don't want to be in the hood, but you want to be right below where the FHA cutoff is. You want to be right in that lower middle sweet spot. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about this idea of being a connector. Because I know you are, I am. I'm always that guy. We have our investor fuel mastermind. Everything we do, I'm like, hey, I know somebody that you need to know. Let me connect you guys.
Sure.
You need a lender in this market. I know exactly who to use. I just, that's something that I've always done. I started in high school. I was the guy throwing parties on the weekend and selling cups and stuff like that. I've always been pulling people together and serving them. And so it's a whole different game now. But just talk about the importance of kind of being a giver and connecting people, and how the impact that ultimately has on your business and your life.
I love connecting people. I love helping people. I love serving people. And one of my big rules of connecting people, it's got to be, someone I've already used, I know, like, and trust, and they're cut from the same cloth. They play the long game. So if I can connect that team together and we do more together, one of my biggest things is how do we do more together? Because I'm clear that I don't want to do everything. I've done that before, and it leads to burnout. It's frustrating, and so I do what I do best, and I find great people to do the rest. And then if I can't connect someone, I'll find out, hey, you need this person, even if it's on my team. Sometimes, like I had a lender of mine. Look, I don't have anywhere to place your money right now. Let me connect you with this guy. I trust that guy because I put money with him and connect you to. Like, Ray, why would you do that? You just lost out on all this money. I go, but did I really? You're happy. He's happy. If I ever need a favor. Like not that you owe me, but you guys are gonna, so
no
doubt. It just works. Like, so it's initially challenging at first because I didn't come from an abundance background. It's something I've had to really embrace, and at times, Mike, scarcity still shows up for me. A lot of guys think, oh, Ray, you're just so abundant. You should talk to my wife.
It's a battle. Right? I agree with you. I did not grow up with a lot either, and it's a challenge sometimes to overcome that. But I've seen it work, so I know the power of having that abundant mindset. So I even teach people this for newer investors. A lot of times, it's hard to find good contractors, right? But sometimes what I teach people is like, look, if you have a good experience with them, introduce more people to them. And it's counterintuitive because sometimes you're like, well, I want that roofer to be available when I need them. But the truth is no individual investor is going to keep one roofer busy, right? So it's like if you send them more business. So this is what's happened to me over the years is, specialty contractors that I'm just one of many customers. Whenever I send them business now and whenever I need them myself, they say, you know what, Mike, I'm like 6 weeks out right now, but I can slip you in next week because you've been good to me, right? It's just that stuff just comes back around. And I'm not even saying that I do that on purpose to say I'm trying to build up a whole list of IOUs with somebody, but that's just generally how it works.
I mean, one of the guys I follow, Eric Thomas, has a good way of putting it for you and I, Mike. It's like you build up credit in the space. You don't know whenever you need credit, but build up credit in any space. So like I'll never come somewhere without looking to first add value. I'll never look to take something without first adding value. If I'm in a relationship, I'm gonna look to outgive that relationship. And not just because I'm trying to play a strategy, it's just because it's who I am.
Yeah. And this is a small world ultimately. If you do the right thing, it comes back around. Karma's alive and well.
Well, that, Mike, and we hadn't connected until recently, but I know guys that know you and they talk well of you, and you know guys that know me. So it's like all of a sudden, the law of attraction, quote unquote, will connect you to the people that are like, look, I'm going to connect you to more people that are just like you because it's how it works.
Yeah. Let's kind of talk a little bit about mindset. I mean, we talked about it a little bit here, but just having the right mindset, because a lot of people don't, right? They have either a scarcity mindset or they don't really even know why they're doing what they're doing. But share your thoughts on kind of how critical it is to have a great mindset and kind of how to get that clarity in your mind so that you're kind of running on all cylinders, if you will.
So I'm a big fan of the Miracle Morning. I've been doing that consistently. Meditating is something I've been doing recently. I use a program called Hollow Sync that was given to me by Rich Dad personally, by Robert Kiyosaki. And I've been doing that consistently for 30 minutes to an hour a day, depending on the day. I mean, I might have done maybe not one day here or there. So the meditating, the getting clear on what you want, and then kind of like looking at your emotions, guys, and really figuring out what is it that's driving that. And then what you'll find is like an old rooted BS. Like I think a lot of guys think that there's one part of us that's running it. No, there's a skinny guy, there's a fat guy, there's a guy that wants to be lazy, there's a guy that wants to work, and also there's a guy, like we have all these parts. And really what you're looking for is not how to break them up or make them wrong. Because when you make them wrong, guys, whatever you repress, man, this is something I kind of made up somewhere, so maybe you'll like it. Whatever you repress somewhere will manifest somewhere else. So if you're repressing something over here, it's going to manifest over here. And the way it's manifesting is probably in a way that you don't want. So let's say, for example, I'm going to share a personal story. I hired a psychiatrist to help me with this piece. And she said, look, you've got a crazy side that wants to go out and party and have a good time. But you're repressing that because now your identity is like, hey, I'm a dad, I'm responsible. She goes, you need to feed that side. Just find a more elegant way to feed that. Find a more elegant way to meet that need. So go out with your wife and hang out and have a great time and go rent somewhere, which is kind of what we're doing tonight. Let's go out and have a good time. And, so you can find another way to meet that need more elegantly. But there's a part of you when you repress a part of you, your soul knows that you're repressing it. And then you're going to kind of self-sabotage. So that's been something that's been really key for me lately. Maybe I'm sharing too much. I don't know if that resonated with you at all.
Well, we don't edit anything, man, so you can't take it back.
No. I'm kidding.
It's good. I think there's a lot of people that get into this business. A lot of people that get into any business, right? And they're like, well, now, or even in corporate America, right? Like, I have to act like somebody that I'm not now.
Right.
We just do that, right? We're like, I have to, people might even listen to this show or other podcasts and say, I want to be like that person, therefore I need to act like them. And there's a lot to be said for learning from other people, right? And modeling, right? But you don't have to be like them, right? Everybody, you're your own person. And if you, I think what you're saying is, if you try to be somebody you're not, then you're going to get burned out, and that's never going to work out anymore.
No, Mike, and you know this, brother, no one can do you as well as Mike can do Mike. No one can do you as well as you can do you. So just do you. Find out who you is and double and triple and quadruple down on that and own it. And then what you end up happening is people will actually appreciate you and do more business with you because they know who you really are. And then people can tell if you're like, we spoke about that, if you're BSing them or not. They can tell if your heart's in the right place. And if it is, you'll attract more. It's when you're trying to be someone you're not, and then you're just being fake to yourself. So you attract fake people, and it just becomes I've seen guys do this, and it becomes a cluster.
Yeah, no doubt. So how do people get, you're going to talk a little bit about meditating, some exercise, things like that. What are some other ways that people can just kind of get their mind clear and I guess kind of never lose sight of what their goal is? Because a lot of times we just get caught up in the day-to-day and we kind of forget why we're even doing it.
One of the things I do is I'll have like a weekly talk with my wife, and we go back to, hey, let's go back to what this is together, right? So really having someone on your team where you have, like we'll go today and tomorrow and we'll discuss this. Hey, babe, what are we doing the next 90 days? What does this look like for you? And we'll usually have like 5 realms, fun, faith, fitness, finances. So she knows what's going on in the loan business. Like, she doesn't know everything because I'm running the business, but she knows where the money is, when it's coming in, when it's coming. She understands that if something wherever, to happen to me, she knows what's going on. So, and the fitness piece. So I tell her what my fitness goals are, and we discuss this and we hold each other accountable, but also what is the why behind that, right? So like if fitness is important to you, fitness didn't become important to me until I attached it to a big why. My big why was I really wanted to inspire people that as you age, you can age gracefully. And I still play sports competitively and do certain things. And it's just like to set the example and really to live my life to my fullest potential in that area. So I don't really, when I hear people say, oh, you're getting close to 40, you really can't do that anymore, right? I'll still go. And it's not like I'm proving you wrong. It's like the human body, we're capable of so much more by living to our fullest potential. So, and I think that's in all areas. Find out what that why is for you, and it's really for somebody else. Like being a great dad. That one of the things that changed my life is that, being a dad. That first year, I felt like I had missed that whole thing with the baby because my wife exited the business. She was a COO. She exited the business, and then I took over her role. And, after a year, I was like, babe, I'm not really enjoying this. So I just kind of gave it all up, started doing the loan business. And it was a transition. But what showed up is now I have my, phenomenal time with my daughter. I'm present with her. I'm an amazing dad. And to the level of dad I want to be, to the level of dad that I want to be. Now, I'm not comparing myself to anybody else. I'm saying,
right.
I need 4 or 5 hours with her a week of just us and her time, and then I need time on the weekend of just her and me time. That's what I want. And that's started to show up for me, and I'm really happy. And every day we kind of go to the park, and we do so. And again, I think it goes back to unique ability and figuring out what you guys want, as far as your listeners. If you guys are comparing yourself to somebody else, comparison is the worst form of scarcity, right? Because you're coming from a scarce place. Now, if the only reason that I think the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, made a comparison is so that it could inspire a desire in you to get something, but not, hey, Mike is better, right? If it is, hey, I want that car or I want that house, great. But it's not, there's no comparison. You're unique. You're a unique soul.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The uniqueness thing. So from a let's just say there's two people listening to this show right now. We got some
Right.
veteran folks, maybe some friends of ours that are listening right now. Want to hear what we're talking about. Then we've got
Right.
some newer folks that are new to the
Sure.
business and trying to understand this. And I like to talk to newer folks about your unique ability, right? You focus on what
Sure.
you're good at, and it's
Sure.
hard because when you're new in this business, a lot of times you might be a one man and one woman band for a little while as you're getting things started. So you got to do things that you don't like to do, but eventually you got to find your way out of that, because if you're doing stuff that you're not good at or that you hate, your business is suffering, no doubt, and you're suffering too, right? Like you're having to do crap that you don't want to do. So let's first talk to the new person and say a little bit about what that means and how you find a way out of those roles that you don't like and you're not good at, or both.
So I'm a big fan of initially first like leaning into that. I see a lot of guys now in the space, starting out, because the industry has evolved, Mike. When you and I started, it was a lot of mom and pops, but now there's like more legitimate companies and
Right,
organizations, right? So it has become a little bit more challenging. There's still a ton of opportunities if you can be better, right? At the same time, if you're new and you're starting out, I'm a big fan of look, you've got to put your nose to the grindstone and learn some of these things and do it in a positive attitude, knowing that you won't do it forever. But if you're coming from a negative place and you're just trying to get it done and you're not creating a process or a system as you do it, the truth is I can take Mike Heinbright's system and put it into my business, and it may not work the way I want it to work. Guys, you have to create your own system. Even like running comps, I have a way we run comps here. This is how we do it here. This is how I like it. This is my flavor. I have a little bit of cinnamon. Sure, I can take Mike's 80% and use his system, but I have to add my flavor to it, guys. Guys, your business and your systems have to come through your unique voice. So as you're working jobs that you don't quote unquote like, learn to like them and learn to create systems in them so you can then ultimately delegate it, and then they do it the way you want it done. You're not abdicating. For years, I abdicated to someone. I gave it to someone. Here, handle this. And it would always blow up in my face. It wasn't until I took it in-house, loved the process, created process, made systems, and held them accountable. But I made my own process. I wasn't going to say, hey, go look at this quote-unquote fortune builders thing and copy their system, or go look at Mike Heinbright's system and copy that. No, this copy and paste shit does not work. You can certainly leverage and certainly quote-unquote shortcut a little bit, but it's got to be unique to you guys. The business you're creating, if you're new, is going to be a reflection of the owner.
No doubt. No doubt. And the problem is if you allow somebody else to define how those things should be done, then those people leave. And then what do? Like, you got to say, well, you figure it out now. Here's how they used to do it, but you just figure it out. So unless you kind of build, that's one of the problems with our business. I mean, I know you came from a corporate background. I did too. Like, if there's anything that instilled in me, it's the need for systems and processes so that you have a real business. Like a lot of us, a lot of real estate investors, they don't really have a business. Like if they leave or they step out, the business just ends, right? Nobody knows how to do anything. And the problem is without building those kind of standard systems and processes and knowing how to do each thing, almost having like a, we use some cloud-based tools now, but checklists for exactly how to do things, or here's steps exactly to do, videos, whatever it is. Without that structure, it's all in your head, and the business will live and die with you.
I learned this from Ed Milet, which is a guy you should follow if you haven't heard of a guy named Ed Milet. He says, don't scale chaos. And that's what I see a lot of guys doing. They're scaling chaos.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then ultimately it's kind of, you feel like the roadrunner that kind of looks at that box and like the whole box blows up, so just again, be intentional with what you're doing. And it's tough, guys. I mean, it's I'm not gonna say it's tough. It's definitely a process, because as you're building that, you also have to generate revenue, right? So,
yep.
But embrace it, because Mike, I don't know about you, but sometimes I miss that part, man, of the hustle and then doing the deal, like, and then like working on a system at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
Meeting with the seller, I miss that stuff at times. So embrace it.
Yeah. Hey, man, so let's turn the tables a little bit. Let's talk about the unique ability for some of our friends, some of our veteran folks, people that might be listening right now, or people that maybe they're not our friends yet, but they're people that do a fair bit of volume. Because I feel like what happens is a lot of people still are not focusing on their unique ability. They're still doing a lot of things in the business they shouldn't be doing. Or there's this stigma in the industry that you must only be a real investor if you are in the trenches every day. And therefore people end up doing stuff that like we all aspire to run a business that will
Right.
kind of run itself and you sleep at night and you got money coming in. Like we all say that
Right.
early on, but then when people get there, they're like, oh, you're not real anymore because you're not like in the trenches digging with the rest of us. And it's like, it's weird, right? It's like poor people will bitch about rich people, but then rich people will say, man, you don't see how hard I worked to get here. They kind of arrived and then they're not cool anymore, you know?
Yeah.
But just talk about that to the more veteran folk that.
No, I definitely. I mean, I think, you know, as you were talking, Mike, I was thinking like a quote by Jay-Z. He was saying that, like, he said we had like a meme, like, hey, like I worked this hard to be the same, right? Like, who does that? Who puts in 10, 12 years of work to come out the same? Who goes to the gym and puts in work for 10 years to look the same? Like, what, you did it? It's silly. So, so in terms of unique ability, there's a book. It's a concept by Dan Sullivan. There's a book called Unique Ability 2.0. You can pick that up, and it walks you through an exercise. It's really 3 things: Strength Finders, the Colby Index, as well as the one thing I got the most value from that book was really identifying my peer group and then asking them, hey guys, what are the things that you guys see that I just do naturally that I may not be aware of? Usually unique ability is something you just do naturally and you're not even aware that you're good at it. You just kind of do it. So like for me, a lot of them were market cycles, being able to like walk through a deal. So I can look at a deal start to finish and see all the headaches and pitfalls of the deals and kind of see the exit. Like I can kind of just play that game. It just, I thought everyone could do it, right? And my wife is always saying, Ray, no one thinks like you do. Like they don't think like that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was so I started to create checklists and systems so I can have somebody else to do that. Being a connector, coaching people, like really like telling people the truth, the divine truth, like really knowing, like intuition, like I just know this guy's something's here, something's off, and I can cut to the core of that message of like, this is what's off. You're saying it's this and you're saying it's that, but here you're just a complicated person, and to feel significant, you do these complicated deals, and now you're stressed out because revenue's not coming in. But really, the basis of it is that you want to be complicated and you want to be significant. That's what's going on. And so, as you can cut, and then usually, you know, the weird thing, Mike, is that whenever you're coaching someone over someone, there's usually something in you too. Like it's weird. Like it's So, and in terms of, I'm just sharing you my unique ability and how I got to it, and once you guys focus and triple and quadruple on it, you just get better and better at it. And then you'll find that things are just easier in your life. So like, for example, one of my unique abilities I used to think was being an operator. I was dead wrong. I didn't like managing people. I didn't like managing process or systems. It was something that I quote unquote had to do. And I said, you know what? I don't have to do that anymore. Now I can find great operators, invest in them, make sure that they know what they're doing. They're better at it than I do. And I just bankroll them.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So
let's talk a little bit about, let's kind of take this to another level about people that feel like they're doing things that they have to do, but you know enough now to know that because you shifted, you just said, hey, I'm not going to do that anymore. Like not a lot of people do that in their business because they're like, well, I have to do it. Like I don't have another option. And the thing is like, we all have options, right? A lot of times we don't realize that we have options until somebody gets really sick or a key person in your business leaves or something happens to them, right? You kind of wait until something really bad happens to realize that, well, we could do things differently. Yeah, it's not as hard as I thought. But back to just kind of like your I hate to use this cheesy cliche all the time, but like your why, like why you do this. You know, sometimes people don't think it's okay to stop or pause or shift gears or whatever. Let's kind of, in this market right now, there's two things going on, two big things going on. A lot of people want to get started in the business. And it's harder than it has been, but there's people that get in and they're just crushing it right now. That always inspires me about the old veteran guys that are like, oh, it's so hard right now. I don't know how anybody's being successful. And then you have these new people that don't have bad habits that are crushing it. But let's just kind of talk to these two people again, of the newer people, how to stay focused on why they're doing it. And some of the veteran folks, don't forget why you got into this business, right? Is to talk a little bit about why they're doing it and kind of just basically back to their why. Like, what is this all for? So we'll talk about why for both. But one of the things that when you said, before we get into the why, that you said that I really find unique about what you said, Mike, because it was a great point, is I think that guys like us, Mike, and other guys and ladies that are listening, however they're making income becomes their identity. Like I'm a real estate fix and flipper. I am a wholesaler. I am like, and you have to box yourself in. And, you know, if you ask like any spiritual person or any leader at a high level, your soul didn't come here to do one job for the rest of your life. I mean, that's retarded. Like this idea that you have one job and that's all you do for the rest of your life and you don't evolve. And as your family changes, as you age, like you don't want to do something different. That's silly.
There's no mastery in that. You don't want to grow. You don't want to contribute. You just want to do the same thing over and over again. But we do feel like we're trapped because the way we make revenue becomes our identity. It's like, this is who I am. And then you start getting caught up in this self-worth equals net worth bullshit. And it's a vicious cycle, man.
Yeah, I think some of it is it's easy to a lot of people don't like change. They sort of just say, this is what I do. And I'm not saying that I've got it all figured out either for sure, but I kind of realized fairly early on, because people would say, oh, you're a rehabber, or you do this, or you're even in real estate. I'm like, look, real estate there's not a lot that I do outside of real estate right now, honestly. Right. But I'll ultimately say I'm in the opportunity business.
Agreed.
I'm in the opportunity business. I find ways to create value, and it could be outside of real estate. It just happens to be in real estate now. I don't really have any plans to move out of real estate, but I think just kind of that it'll make you feel more comfortable. People are listening to this right now, and they feel like they're trapped being a wholesaler or a rehabber or a lender or not being a lender, whatever it is like, I think if you just kind of step back and say, look, I'm in the opportunity business. I buy low, I sell high, I add value, and therefore I can make money from that. Then I think it'll give you some breathing room to say that maybe I don't have to do things the way I've been doing them for so long.
I think the biggest thing, one of my key insights is I journal. Journaling is huge, guys, in terms of mindset, because you get to journal it out. Your unique, your wealth plan should be in alignment with your unique ability. And it should feel good as you're doing it, guys. You can't have a happy outcome to a shit road. So it's struggle. Like guys, it doesn't make it like, I just learned this recently, and I'm like, you can't have a road that leads to happiness if the whole road is filled through struggle. Enjoying the journey. The journey is, the quest should be joyful, and the result should be expansion and growth. And guys, freedom is your natural basis. You're chasing this thing called freedom. But what happens with guys like you and me, Mike, and it still happens, is now you think you had to go get this freedom, but now all these other emotions start to show up, and you're like, oh, fuck, right? The truth is, you were born free. Like, it's an illusion you're chasing anyway. I don't know if you want to speak to that, but.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think about the, I don't know if a short way to say this, but I've thought about that reason. Just some people that I know that don't really have a lot, but they're happier than some people that I know that have a lot. Right. And it was because there was so much struggle. They were so caught up in the struggle to get there that they never really enjoyed it. And now that they're there, kind of air quote here, it's hard to enjoy it too, right? Because they didn't enjoy
it. Mike, I'm one of those, dude. I mean, I don't know if you kind of like it was a struggle, and you get there, and now because everything is a struggle, you don't really know how to enjoy. You don't really know.
Man, I struggle with that personally.
Yeah. So again, this is kind of like the more experienced guys will have this challenge. So some of the newer guys, I would say, when you identify your why, to tie it back to your question, is guys, enjoy it. Like, and so even the things you don't like, find something that you can enjoy. Tie it to a bigger outcome. You know, find a way to enjoy the process, because you can't have a great outcome to a shit process.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? A buddy of mine, Matt Andrews. I don't know if you know Matt. Mm-hmm. Matt's a great guy. He's one of the founding members of my Investor Fuel Mastermind too. Just highly respect this guy. Everybody loves when Matt comes and shares a story because it's very inspirational. But he didn't. What I'm about to say here is I'm kind of deriving from what he said. But he said every year he does a SWOT analysis on his life, like how good of a father am I? How good of a husband am I? Like all spiritually, how have I done? And whether it's a SWOT analysis or a scorecard, you know, in real estate investing, we've got. I just said it around here somewhere, but every week we meet, we have a scorecard, like how's our business performing? And in our personal lives, often we never have that, right? We don't have like, how am I doing? And it could be like a happiness, like just score yourself every week on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy am I? And and I'm not doing this, by the way, I'm kind of talking to myself right now, telling me what I should do maybe, right? I agree, but it's like, if you said, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you this week? And you see over time, I just keep putting down like 4s and 5s, and it's like, something's wrong. Something's wrong here, you know, just like it is in your business. In your business, we say, hey, man, I'm not at an 8. If I'm not at an 8 or higher, we got to do something. But in your personal life, it's like, why not do the same thing, right? How good of a father have I been this week? How much time have I spent with my family this week? Start to kind of measure those things. Just have a scorecard. Nobody needs to know that you have it in your back pocket. But when you're putting those numbers in and they're low, something's broken, right?
And you know what's weird, Mike, is I love what you said is, a lot of times there's like, we think, you know, whenever I talk to guys, you think that the personal doesn't relate to the business. Dude, if I'm not right with my wife and we're having an argument, there's no way I can generate revenue and kind of be at the highest vibrational frequency to go do that and perform at the highest. There's no way.
No
I mean,
doubt.
like I just suffer all around. If I'm not connected with my daughter and I haven't seen her a long time, we haven't had one-on-one time, dude, I'm miserable. So,
Yep.
so we live in this kind of harmony, if you will, and each harmony is different for everybody. Everybody's music is different, and really, like, your soul knows if you're not living one area. So kind of like, what would make your soul happy is a question I've been asking myself lately and giving myself permission. Like, a lot of times, I don't know if you struggle with this, Mike. Like, in the past, I haven't given myself permission to, like, dude, go do that. Hey, go, like, or, whatever that is, buy yourself something, or whatever that is that would make your soul want something. And then when you deprive it, it just affects everything else.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Hey, thanks for spending time with us today.
Yeah, man. Anytime, man. I
stuff.
love that you're a great giver, and it was more a spiritual piece, but I think it's real. I think a lot of guys are talking about it, and
it's funny. You can't, from my perspective, we can't talk about this stuff enough. I mean, we can talk about tactics of real estate investing, which we've done. By the way, this is episode number 462. So we talked about every topic at this point for the most part.
Right.
But this type of stuff, this is why we all get into this business. So my perspective is we really can't talk about this enough, because this is what we're all shooting for, is to live a better life. Sometimes we just forget it for a little while.
Yeah. And then the weird thing is, if you're not in a good place emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you can't implement any strategy at a high level anyway. Yep. The strategy is a lot less effective.
No doubt. Ramon, if folks want to learn more about you or track you down somehow, where do they go?
I'm on Facebook. I was doing a Facebook Live every week, so I'll start to get back on track there. So you can follow me at Facebook at Ramon Gonzalez. You can follow me on Instagram at the official Ramon Gonzalez there. And what else? And we do a mastermind every once a quarter. We were doing it once a quarter. We just kind of slowed down for the live stuff for the summer. So that's something I got clear on too. I said, why am I doing this once a quarter? I don't know that I really am committed to this once in a quarter. What do I have to prove to somebody? I don't have anything to prove to anybody. I'll do the next mastermind when I'm ready.
Yep.
So whenever that is, that'll be. So I do masterminds. I was doing them once a quarter. I don't know when the next one will be. And for right now, I'm just enjoying life. I'm going to taking a month off here in July to go hang out on the beach and just enjoy time with my daughter and my family now.
That's awesome, man. We'll add links down below for folks that are listening, if you can write it down, how to get to Ramon. And then we'll also add some links back to some of the books we mentioned, Unique Ability, Miracle Morning with Hal Elrod, good book too. So we'll add some links down below here in the show notes. Great to see you, my friend.
Great to connect with you, man. I'm excited to develop a relationship with you. And if there's anything I can do to help and serve you, Mike, you or your listeners, I'm here for you, brother.
I appreciate that. Everybody, this is episode number 462 with Ramon Gonzalez. Great stuff here. I hope you picked something up here. We talk about topics like this every once in a while, but probably not often enough. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, even YouTube, wherever you watch us or listen to us at. Of course, all of our shows, over 1,500 different podcasts now, you can find on flipnerd.com. So if you could subscribe, give us a little love with a positive rating, we'd appreciate it. That's the fuel that keeps us going. So everybody have a great week. We'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.
If you're an active real estate investor already doing deals and looking to double or triple your business, you should consider joining the Investor Fuel Real Estate Investor Mastermind. We're a small group of investors that share our best practices, tips, and tricks with one another in an effort to all win. Real estate investing can be a lonely business for successful real estate investors, but it doesn't have to be. Investor Fuel members meet 4 times a year, but we talk to each other 365 days a year, and we focus on improving the profitability of our businesses, improving the quality of our lives. That's why we do this, right? And making an impact on those around us so we can truly leave a legacy. We limit our membership to only 1 to 2 members per market, so everyone shares their knowledge, tips, and tricks openly and honestly. Our members include some buying 1 to 2 houses a month, up to some of the most respected investors and leaders in the real estate investing industry, some of which have personally done over 1,000 deals. If you'd like to be considered for our invitation-only world-class mastermind, please visit investorfuel.com to request your personal invitation. Our next meeting is coming up quickly. Go to investorfuel.com now to learn more. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the flipnerd.com Investing Show. If you're not yet an elite member of FlipNerd, you're missing out. We have tons of great training, including a new detailed master class published each month and live training webinars with experts twice a month. Plus, you'll get access to all of our archives, where we already have a growing library of master classes and other training videos. Elite members also get membership in our incredible online mastermind group, where many of the top real estate investors from across the country, including many of the hundreds of guests I've had on the show in the past, are already members. Whether you're brand new, looking to get started, or a veteran, you simply must join today. I promise you won't be disappointed. To learn more or join today, please visit flipnerd.com/lab. That's flipnerd.com/lab. See you on the next show.